Shalom, this week's Sedra Pekudei, but we're going to talk about Parshas HaChodesh. Many people are familiar with the category of mitzvos that can only be fulfilled in the land of Israel. Among these mitzvos are the sabbatical year, Shemitah, tithing, Trumas and Maasros, and leaving portions of one's field aside for the poor. The common denominator between most of these mitzvos that can only be fulfilled in the land of Israel is they are agricultural by nature. This week, we learn of a mitzvah that isn't agricultural and that must be fulfilled in the land of Israel. This Shabbat is the fourth of a series of special Shabbatot that start before Purim, and this week it's called Shabbat HaChodesh because we read a special portion of the Torah about the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh, sanctifying the moon. The source of this mitzvah is God's statement that says that this month shall be the first month to you. This mitzvah is incumbent upon the Beis Din, the Jewish court, to take testimony from people who have seen the new moon each month and then declare it Rosh Chodesh, the first day of the month. Since many of the festivals start on a specific day of the month, the Jewish people need a legal system to declare the first day of that new month. Now, it's curious that this mitzvah can only be performed by Beis Din HaGadol and only in Eretz Yisrael. Now, since there's no Beis Din HaGadol today, we no longer determine the months on the basis of testimony, just as we no longer bring karbanos, or sacrifices, because there's no Beis HaMikdash. The calculations that we use today to know when Rosh Chodesh and the festivals occur may only be done in Eretz Yisrael. The sages in Eretz Yisrael are the ones to establish the months and declare a leap year when they gather together and use the accepted methods that we learn about. There's a very important principle upon which the Torah's perspective on this subject is based, which is only understood and fully realized by those who delve deeply into the Torah. Those outside of Eretz Yisrael use our system to make calculations, and we declare that this day is the first of the month, and that this day is a holiday, a festival, does not in any way mean that we are making this based on our own calculations outside of Israel. Rather, it's because the Beis Din in Eretz Yisrael has already established that the day is a festival or a Rosh Chodesh. The day becomes a festival or Rosh Chodesh based upon their declaration in Eretz Yisrael that today is Rosh Chodesh or that today is a festival. The Rambam explained how far the law that these calculations must be made in Eretz Yisrael extends. He wrote, let's assume, for example, that there would be no Jewish inhabitants in Eretz Yisrael. God forbid such a thing, he writes, since Hashem has already promised that we will never be completely wiped out or uprooted, the Jewish nation will never happen, and there would be no Beis Din there, nor a Beis Din outside of Eretz Yisrael, which has been ordained in Eretz Yisrael. In such a case, our calculations would be totally futile, since we who dwell outside of Eretz Yisrael may not make the calculations, since from Zion shall go forth the Torah, and from the word of the Lord from Yerushalayim. The common denominator between most of the mitzvos that can only be fulfilled in the land of Israel is that they are agricultural by nature. The mitzvah of Rosh Chodesh that we're learning about now isn't agricultural, and yet it still must be fulfilled in Eretz Yisrael. Why is it that the mitzvah of calculating Rosh Chodesh can only be performed by Beis Din HaGadol and only in Eretz Yisrael? My idea is that the mitzvahs fulfilled by Beis Din HaGadol on behalf of the nation must be fulfilled in the national homeland in Eretz Yisrael. This isn't to make a point about the dirt of the land. This mitzvah is about our homeland and its place in our religious practice and our nation. Eretz Yisrael isn't just a side factor, isn't something nice that we have. It's one of the essential and most important factors of our nation and of our religious makeup. Shabbat Shalom.